A cold wind swept through the cemetery as Jake placed flowers on his father's grave. But just as he turned to leave, he froze. A voice, his father's voice, whispered his name from behind. "The dead don't speak, right?" Jake, a 28-year-old man with tired eyes and a heavy heart, makes his way down the narrow path of the old cemetery. It's the same path he walks every year on the exact same date, his father's death anniversary. The sky above is blanketed in gray clouds, casting a lifeless hue over the crooked tombstones around him. The wind is sharp, cold enough to sting his cheeks, and the air smells of wet earth and forgotten memories. He clutches a bouquet of fresh white lilies, his father's favorite. As he walks deeper into the graveyard, the sound of his footsteps on gravel is the only noise breaking the suffocating silence. There's something about today that feels different. The trees sway gently, but their branches creak in a way that almost sounds like whispers. Finally, Jake reaches the grave, an old stone, cracked slightly at the edges, but clean, as he always keeps it. He kneels beside it, brushing a few fallen leaves away from the name etched in cold stone, Thomas K. Miller, beloved father and friend. Jake sighs and places the flowers down gently, his fingers lingering on the damp soil. "Miss you, Dad," he says softly, almost like a confession. He doesn't move for a while. The silence around him feels heavier than usual. He looks up, scanning the empty cemetery, and suddenly feels like he's being watched. His heart beats a little faster. Still, he stays. The minutes stretch. The wind picks up. And then he hears a faint rustle behind him. Jake brushes it off. Just the wind, he tells himself. But something about that rustling sound felt too deliberate, too close. He stands up slowly, his eyes scanning the rows of tombstones behind him. Nothing. Just stone, silence, and swaying trees. He exhales sharply, forcing a nervous chuckle. "Get a grip, Jake," he mutters. "It's just your imagination." But as he turns to leave, he hears it, a whisper. So soft, so familiar. Jake, he freezes. Every hair on his body stands up. He knows that voice. It's not just familiar, it's etched into his memory. His father's voice. He turns around instantly, heart pounding, eyes wide. No one is there. The cemetery is still. Not even the wind moves now. It's like the world has paused, waiting. Jake takes a step backward. "Who's there?" He calls out, trying to sound brave, but his voice cracks. Silence. Then again, closer this time, almost right behind him. "Jake, son, why did you leave me there?" The voice is low, broken, and filled with something Jake can't quite understand. Pain, anger, grief. His blood runs cold. His mind races to rationalize. It can't be real. His father had died 3 years ago in a tragic car accident. Jake saw the casket lowered into the ground himself. He knows he's buried right here. And yet, the voice keeps echoing in his ears, clinging to him like a fog he can't escape. Jake stumbles back, his breath quick and shallow. He looks around frantically, trying to spot a speaker, a person, anything. But the cemetery remains empty and deathly still. Only the grave of his father lies before him. Something feels off. He looks down at the tombstone again and freezes. The name is the same, Thomas K. Miller, but the date of death has changed. It no longer reads October 12, 2022. It now says today's date, October 27, 2025. Jake's heart skips a beat. He blinks hard and leans in, thinking his eyes must be playing tricks on him. He wipes the stone with his sleeve, still the same. He checks his phone for the date. October 27. Today. Suddenly, he notices something even stranger. The earth around the grave is no longer settled. The soil, which should be packed tight, after 3 years, looks disturbed, uneven, fresh. Like it's just been dug up. Or worse, like something is trying to dig out. A low groan echoes beneath the surface, deep and wet like the shifting of something heavy and rotting. The lilies he placed moments ago slowly begin to sink into the soil, as if the grave is swallowing them whole. Jake stares in frozen horror. His legs won't move. Then, without warning, the ground begins to bulge. It pulses, once, twice, like something is pushing from beneath. The soil cracks. The sound of squirming roots and shifting wood grows louder. Jake backs away slowly, eyes wide. And then, a hand bursts through the dirt. Gray. Decayed. Fingernails blackened and chipped. It claws at the air violently, desperately. Jake screams and falls backward onto the gravel path, scrambling to get away. The hand is followed by a second. And then, slowly, a head begins to rise. Mud-covered, hollow-eyed and grinning. It's his father. Jake crawls backward on the ground, eyes locked on the thing climbing out of the grave. His father, or what used to be his father, rises slowly, pulling himself free from the dirt like a puppet dragged from hell. His once warm eyes are now hollow, milky orbs. His skin is pale, stretched tightly over his skull with patches of rot and soil clinging to it. But the most terrifying thing of all isn't how he looks. It's how he smiles. A twisted, unnatural grin that stretches wider than any human should be able to. "Hello, son." The corpse rasps, its voice both decayed and painfully familiar. Jake's mind spins. He wants to run, to scream, to wake up from what must be a nightmare, but his body is frozen in place. "You said you'd always visit me. Never forget me." The voice is wet, layered with something deeper. Something not entirely human. Jake trembles. "Why, you're not real. You're not my father." The thing steps forward, dragging mud-soaked feet across the ground. With every step, the air grows colder, heavier. The birds have stopped singing. The world has gone still, as if nature itself is too afraid to witness what's happening. "Not real?" The corpse growls. "Then why do I remember everything? The last words you said. The promise you broke. The years of silence in the dark. Alone." It pauses inches from Jake, staring down at him. "Now you'll listen. And you'll stay." Suddenly, the creature grabs Jake by the wrist. Its grip is impossibly strong, cold as ice, and it begins to pull him toward the open grave. Jake thrashes, screams, tries to break free, but the more he struggles, the more the ground around the grave opens, as if the earth itself is hungry. The creature leans in, and with a voice dripping with venom and sorrow, it whispers, "If you won't keep your promise in life, you'll keep it in death." Jake's screams slice through the cold air, raw and panicked, but the cemetery doesn't answer. The world feels abandoned, like time has stopped just for this moment. Overhead, the clouds churn in unnatural spirals, blotting out the sun until everything is cast in a dull, blue-gray shadow. The ground beneath Jake is no longer solid. It's soft, crumbling, alive, pulling at him like it wants to drag him into the underworld. The creature, his father, or what's left of him, tightens its grip. Jake can hear bones cracking, but not his own. The creature's jaw begins to unhinge, impossibly wide, leaking soil and something black and thick. Its voice, when it speaks again, is layered, his father's voice mixed with something ancient, guttural, almost inhuman. "You forgot me, Jake. You buried me and moved on. But I waited. I waited in the dark." Jake sobs as he fights back, but his limbs feel weaker with every passing second, as if the grave is sapping his strength. The fingers clutching him aren't just cold, they're empty, like they're made of shadow-wearing skin. "Please, stop," he screams. I didn't forget you. I never forgot. I didn't want to remember this way. But the creature doesn't listen. It never did. With one final pull, Jake is dragged down into the open grave. The soil gives way beneath him like quicksand. He feels his body falling, not just down, but inward, like he's being swallowed by the earth itself. Then, darkness. Complete, suffocating, unnatural darkness. He falls for what feels like minutes, through layers of soil, memories, and cold regret. Then, impact. He lands hard on his back, his lungs gasping for air in the tight, stinking space around him. Jake blinks rapidly, trying to adjust to the pitch-black void. There's barely enough room to move. His arms bump against smooth wood. Wood, a coffin. He jerks upright, but his forehead slams into the lid. Panic floods his chest. He kicks, nothing. He punches, screams, but the coffin doesn't budge. The silence around him is absolute, until he hears it. Tap, 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 from above. His ears strain. Then, a voice. Faint, muffled, from outside the coffin. You said you'd never leave me, son. Now you never will. Jake's heart pounds so loudly it drowns out everything else. He slams his fists against the lid again, splinters digging into his knuckles. Let me out. Let me out. No answer. Then he hears it, the sound of dirt falling. One slow, deliberate shovel of soil at a time, thudding onto the coffin lid. Each impact dull and heavy, like a countdown to suffocation. Jake screams again, his voice cracking into hysteria. No, no, I'm alive. I'm still alive. But the dirt keeps falling. Faster now. Deeper. Final. Then, silence. Total and eternal. A single, final breath escapes Jake's lungs, and the screen fades to black. If this story left your heart racing, hit the like button and subscribe for more terrifying tales. And remember, the dead don't always stay buried, and some graves were never meant to be disturbed.